Today I'm going to cut and flail mow this grass here and build out a large terrace. Now again, this is a demonstration site. We got a variety of different gardening methods, and what I'm putting in these white stakes for is to mark the contour, which is already defined by kind of a bump in the soil here. By the way, I'm Justin Hitt with Prosperity Homestead. We're doing some demonstration work. We've got cover crops nice and strong here. It is about the second half of April, and what we're going to do here is flail mow all this biomass, flail mow it out, and then I'm going to need to come back in with a tiller, probably not today, but a tiller to till out this lower area and try to get it more level. This was multiple terraces, but the terraces were too narrow, and if we want to grow corn or combinations of biomass type materials that can be seeded with a little push seeder, then I need to have this area as flat as I can get it. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to flail mow it. So I'm marking where the hill is, because the flail mower does not do hills, narrow hills like this very well. I'm going to flail mow it, and then I'll probably flail mow the top halves too, just so I get that nice green line. And then I'll come back and I'll till out a section, kind of a big rectangle section to make it level. You may not see that in this video, but again, most of the videos that I do are in a series for an educational training program. Ideally, if you were out here today, you would see step by step, and we could talk through the different steps. But basically what I'm trying to create is a nice level paddock like that. See right there? That's a nice level paddock. I can get in and out with the flail mower. I can do that really light tillage that we do to terminate the cover crop. And then this is probably another example. All the way out that way is a flat level terrace with a strip, with the vegetated strip is actually wildflowers, and then below it is another flat area that's a terrace. Now, why are we doing terraces? Well, at the top of the hill we have permanent raised beds in a short interval with contour walking trails. Down here we'll still have the contour walking trails, but the hill levels out a little bit more, so we'll have much broader level terraces. That allows us to choose a terrace area, put in a certain crop, and then next year put in a different crop. It becomes a growing unit. So if you look at this site with a satellite, you'll see these paddocks, which are these large areas, broken down into cells or growing units, which then are accessible by different means. So up here you can see the trails, the contour paths. Some are more dominant than others, and there's going to be there's growing beds on either side of these. But again, as it gets more shallow, we get larger rectangular areas. And that doesn't mean we're not going to hill up the soil in order to make like a double reach bed, but it just means that we are growing appropriate for our equipment that we already own. We didn't have to go out and buy equipment. We're growing appropriate for the type of crop. So grains and stuff like that are better off on a flat level area rather than narrow, it's all terraces, but narrow permanent raised beds. And ultimately, we want to have different grow areas for different types of crops and demonstration. But again, see all the hairy vetch? I'm simply going to mow it with the flail mower, which is going to chop it into little pieces. If there's going to be additional videos, it'll be on this channel. Like I said, we try to get some of these samples out because there's larger training programs. And of course, you can always come out here and learn this stuff. But first thing I do is I mark the contour with some stakes. They're visible. And then when I get in there with the flail mower, I work off of this line, and I'm going to go ahead and get this line all the way over to the other side. And then I work my way down to flail it all out. Then I determine whether we need to come in here with an excavator and dig out some areas, or the deeper tillage to loosen the soil up so we can rake it out. But ultimately, this biomass is not lost. The biomass goes back into the soil, and we don't till it under, because if you till the cover crop under, you're essentially going to be sucking nutrients out of the soil, which are necessary for the microbes to break down the organic material, but it doesn't directly incorporate the organic material. What's better though is to flail mow the top of it, do a light tillage, 1 inch, at most 3 inches, and then basically plant in the grasses. The light tillage simply just breaks the tops of the roots, leaving the remaining roots under the ground, and creates a nice thick layer, and I'm looking around, I don't see anything right now. This bottom field is not as desirable as what we've got going on up top, but ultimately it will let us plant in the soil quickly using those little rolling seeders or other means, broadcast for example. But again, you can see the combination. This grass is about to my knee, and it's going to be a little bit easier to work with if I mow it out. Now when you're on a hill, creating these paddocks and these cells is a little challenging, and it is quite a bit ad hoc because it's not a flat area. And again, we're in southeastern Virginia, or southwestern Virginia, south central, I don't know. We're in Virginia near the Appalachian Mountains, and the ground starts getting more hilly. You've got to use these adaptive methods. And I am starting to see honeybees looking for food in here. So we're going to plant a couple more vegetative strips that are wildflowers instead of grasses and such. Now we're going to mow this grass before it gets to seed. And I just don't know how much more growth we're going to get into it before May 8th or so when we start planting out here, because we'll be about ready to plant. So again, if I'm just flail mowing it, it's not going to cover it so deeply that the remaining grass won't continue to grow. If I flail mow it now, it'll still grow whatever inches it was going to grow previously. It just won't have as much solar surface area to convert sunlight into sugars and all that other stuff. But ultimately, I can see what I'm doing here. So we're going in phases to get these fields back in order to grow on. But we certainly don't want to have a greenhouse full of stuff that can't go out. So let me stop yammering and I will start mowing. Again, if you want to see this whole series, you got to click the link below. Visit www.prosperityhomestead.org. Ask your questions related to this, join our mailing list, and we'll let you know when the additional videos come out if you don't see them on the channel itself. Thanks for watching. I'm Justin Hitt with Prosperity Homestead. And we're going to get this field cleaned up.